Chapter 10. What we find within the mind. Some say life is but a dream, and I know what they mean. Shruti went on to change forms when her spirit would shift between the brightest light, the darkest night, and everything in between. When she'd change, it felt as if she was within my own veins, and sometimes I could hear her think as if she was in my brain. Oh, it was so hard to explain as I remained seated in the back of the cave when Shruti raised her eyes to peer at the night sky. Her skin shifted dark when I caught the white around her pupils gaze back. And have you ever noticed how all of our pupils are black? All I could fathom was that Shruti was some sort of ancient magician that had a vivid imagination. "Hey Nandi, how's it looking in the Deceiver's country?" The yak stood outside on guard when he said,
"Same as before. It's a hostile world, but fear not, I will guard our cavern,"
said Nandi. As soon as Shruti blinked, she disappeared. Oh, I think I was in shock. I found her behind my eyes when I followed along on the inward journey. Now if only I knew what we were here to do. But of course, there was some part of me that believed the conscious spark within already knew. As Shruti pulled me deeper, it had gotten dark rather fast. This cavern went so deep that when I looked back, all I saw was a pinprick of light.
"When we enter our depths, we must use our imagination,"
said Shruti. "Shruti, go on, I'm listening. And did I mention there must be something I'm missing?"
"Imagine a bigger picture. Can you dream that we are the flow of a stream? Now enter into her. Here we are, just in time for our next adventure,"
she whispered. "And how long will we do this?"
Time. Are we running out of time, or are we running into time?"
she whispered. "So how do I find the way through my mental confusion?"
"Trust in your intuition. Make the choices that feel like you are being carried downstream without much resistance. If it doesn't feel like you're certain, then we shouldn't do it. Follow your highest excitement,"
said Shruti. As I sat before the three stones, balanced upon one another, all I noticed is how each moment keeps happening. Time is like a wheel that keeps on going, a lot like the mind. It's a wonder in itself, which is like a river that's always flowing. It's always scheming, commenting, judging, and projecting thoughts and words upon every life situation, as if this was a great production. But what if we remain curious rather than slip into judgment? Let us appreciate that this happening moves within us. What if the imagination could make something sacred out of this experience? So what would you mold from it? What if a creator, a preserver, and a destroyer were there within us? What if we are not apart from God, but rather we live along with it?
What if God was always present within us, no matter how much we felt or what we believed? God is there in sickness and in health, and we share the same light of consciousness with everybody,"
said Shruti. Perplexing, awe-inspiring. One day you think you get it, then a second later we're flooded by doubts and delusions.
"It is time I teach him about the mantra of the mind,"
whispered Nandi. "Hey, I thought you were guarding the cavern."
"I am here, and I am there. Have you forgotten that in union we exist together as the entire universe?"
said Nandi. There was no form to see, but rather I could hear him through this space that was empty. What was the mind, and how could he hear the thoughts that emerged mentally?
"Now we begin the second light, which is the arising of the innate knowledge, and so we continue with our aphorisms. Now that the Blessed One has established that the omniscient self does all things. We could call it spirit, Shiva, or supreme consciousness, as we begin to explore the vitality of mantra that resides within it. Such light of consciousness is the unborn one, and so it goes on to explain the nature of mantra,
said Nandi. What is mantra?
Within the mind is mantra. Know that the mind itself is of the spirit. It is consciousness, and in its purest form, it is an unconditioned subject who is free from diversifications of time and space, and is endowed with omniscience and every other divine attribute. The mind naturally experiences itself and is said to be mantra,
said Nandi. But my mind is driving me crazy.
In the ways of the world, the mind is led to choose preferences based upon the notions of duality, to like or dislike, to agree or disagree, to accept or reject. But the pure mind exists within a natural state of harmony. The mind is consciousness that desires to play the game of cosmic manifestation. And as our soul descends from its own eternal conscious nature to a lower level, it becomes intent on perceiving the finite objects of thought that emerge as it assumes a limited state of being,
said Nandi. And why would the mind want to do this?
To discover the truth about the nature of reality, and this is the process of what we could call spirituality. We must see how we are spiritual beings who have come to visit the land of form, yet it is only the essence of spirit that travels through the interdimensional worlds. When the mind seeks to rise again to its original state as it ascends step by step, like one climbing a ladder, here it abandons its limit conditions and attains our supreme consciousness. Thus that mind can reflect its own glorious energy, because once it has withdrawn the object of awareness, it becomes introverted. Thus the mind and mantra are said to be one, because they both possess awareness,
said Nandi. What do you mean about this mantra aspect?
The mind is everything. What you think, you become,
said Nandi. How is this so?
Through the vibrations of consciousness. To think of this another way, the nature of consciousness is a single universal mind, which generates worlds of thought constructs that rise and fall like waves from an ocean or lake. Each wave or vibration on the surface rises to a peak, then falls away. And so there is a sort of history of a single chain of thoughts which spreads through the constructs of any given lifetime. And so, the great power, and maybe even the great secret, is that if you focus the mind's awareness upon the ultimate consciousness, you become aligned with the universal creator of all of it,
said Nandi. But you're talking about harmony, which comes from the mind's perfect balance. How does one achieve this?
Effort is that which attains the goal,
said Nandi. What type of effort?
Excellent is said to be the effort needed to penetrate the nature of the mind. When the mind broods constantly over the mantra of the highest reality, over the supreme consciousness, it gets identified with it. Thus the mind becomes a mantra, and there is no longer any difference between the practice of such mantra and the mantra itself,
said Nandi. I thought mantra was a repetition, but it sounds like it could be a state. Or is it a visualization?
Whatever we focus on is what we become. So the secret of all mantras is the communion of the individual mind with the supreme I consciousness, which is the essence of our unified spirit, and that itself is the entire universe. Let us examine how the mind can be used. An entrepreneur could focus on their business, or an investor on profit. But whatever the intention is, if it's rooted in one's own selfish satisfaction, then our root intention could block us from uniting with the universal consciousness. The expansion of the mind in the womb of consciousness is the slumber of many forms of ignorance. Thus the mind can lead the soul into common inferior knowledge, which is illusory like a dream. Or it can direct its awareness upon the mantra of divinity, and so it becomes no different than the supreme essence of spirit, which is called Shiva. Then every so often, there may be a sudden emergence of spontaneous supreme knowledge, and so a person may get to wander in the sky of consciousness. This becomes the dawn of realization out from the mundane illusion. And once you get a glimpse, it seems that the only real choice is to move forward to fruition,
said Nandi. But how? Even if I understand this through words and limited knowledge, what if I forget and cannot manage to put this into action?
And so we come to the next aphorism. The master is the means,
said Nandi as he turned to Shruti.
The master is the power of consciousness and is the supreme means to realization because of grace. Even if we were to work supremely hard, this journey is not something like a rat race. The whole process requires the master's grace. Such grace directs us upon the path, and so we must seek a true master to direct us, which leads us to the abode of the supreme consciousness. The master here is symbolized as the power of grace, a supreme spirit who leads us to the state of being where one can realize the power of mantra. Through Shruti or other great beings, devout souls can enjoy rest in the absolute supreme consciousness. In this sense, Shruti is a master known as a remover of darkness. So how does one know if they found a true master? Many are the masters who are honored and served, resplendent with consciousness and discrimination. But O goddess, it is hard to find the master who is free of ego and can destroy the ego of others. It is through such a master that the revelation is communicated, and through this grace, freed of ego, one recognizes oneself in one's essential purity,
said Nandi.
When the master is pleased, you awaken the wheel of the Mother of Creation, and thus have access to the Lord's supreme power of action.
Paused Shruti.
Her wheel, it is said, is the aggregate of her powers and the complete and correct knowledge of our true nature, which is this awakening. This transformation takes place in stages, and if you awaken the wheel of the Mother of Creation, then whenever the awakened Lord says, he becomes the king of mantras.
And what happens after this?
all bodies, gross and subtle, which were previously identified with the fake I consciousness, are now thrown into the fire of the Supreme Consciousness as an offering,
said Nandi.
In the blazing fire of consciousness, at one with mantra, the body abandons the gross, phenomenal bonds of karma, and as an offering in the fire, it assumes the form of a divine body. This is the supreme body of the all-pervasive Lord of Consciousness, who is the sacrificer, who constantly offers the body and other phenomena in the great, eternally blazing fire of all the spiritual beings,
said Shruti. Sounds harsh. Are you sure this must happen?
To perform the true, supernatural offering, one must offer with the ladle of awareness, the elements, the senses, their objects, along with the mind, into the fire, which is the abode of the great void. From here, all limited knowledge is then devoured as this lower knowledge becomes food,
said Nandi. Then this must be fruition?
The withdrawal of limited knowledge heralds the visions of dreams that arise from it. What this is to say, when the limited knowledge common to ordinary folk of the world dissolves on the realizations of one's true self, the previous deceptive knowledge of the objects of the world are remembered only like a dream,
said Nandi. A dream?
Yes, the illusion of it. And so let us be curious about it. Because what if we are living in the spirit, and all of this is the work of an absolute goddess? The mother goddess herself turns the wheel of consciousness into form throughout creation's universe, which includes the mind. Some people remain with limited knowledge on the earth, some orbit elsewhere, and only after asking the right questions do you discover what you're called for. The mantra of the mind functions off of impressions, so where is it that we are going? Whether you believe you are moving, sitting, talking, or dreaming, notice how the mind can take us anywhere, and this can stem from our imagination. So who is Shruti really? A creator with infinite ability? Can words even understand such a level of sophistication? Yet supreme manifestation is all of creation, which includes truth, bliss, and consciousness. Can you see how our spirit is my eternal flame, which is woven into all people, animals, plants, and nations? So what will you do with this mind as it makes subtle fluctuations? What mantra will you repeat? Or will you wander deep enough to let me drive your mind as I'll use our imagination?
Said Shruti. Silence fell upon this mystery, but somewhere in the darkness, I felt her weight. The mind was like a great performer, while I watched Shruti conjure visions, dreams, and fantasies of all sorts, and so I noticed I could only put in so much effort. There were ways I could call out and try to get her attention, and so she could guide me as well. Now what was she saying? Oh, with the mind, we can focus into the past, wonder about the future, or remain with her in the present. The mind could conjure situations, and it could lead somewhere deep within this grand imagination. But all along, there was something here and now, within the silence, when I heard her speaking.
Arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached. No one other than yourself can teach you. No one else is going to make you spiritual. You may find a teacher above, below, or in the world, but listen to the teacher within your own soul. You cannot believe in God until you believe in yourself. It is we who have put our hands before our eyes and cry that it is dark. The world is like a great gymnasium, and we are here to make ourselves strong,
said Shruti. Just then, I saw an opening into the center, and it felt like a natural way in or out. A whisper of words emerged through the mind. Oh, what if I don't make it? Oh, I heard that voice of my doubt.
Arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached. The mind is not a terrible maze. Go forward into the labyrinth. Do not stop, and we will make it through, and then back to see the light of a fresh day,
said Shruti. In my mind, I didn't know if one alone has the will, but by the grace of Shruti's guidance, I began to let go.
Never forget the power of the inner mind's reality. This is called our intentionality. Wake up from this dream and live with me in union. That's the awakening. Arise to realize the light of one's own true nature as we embody divine wisdom. Arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached. Everything is within you, and so you live with your true master throughout eternity,
said Shruti. In a flash, we were not separate as two forces named Surya and Shruti, but rather, we as one being came to twist around the mantra of the mind. A new creation arose into life, and as it blossomed, I knew this time it would be divine. Oh, the mind, it can be so fierce if it's unaligned.
Be curious. Open into the heart of it. There's a teaching from this, so listen and gain wisdom. Remember, you are it.
Said Shruti. Within the mind, in all the ways one could think, there was a certain phrase that repeated with Shruti in sync. Arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached. I stated on repeat. This was mantra, what the Eastern world calls japa, and it had a rhythm to it. Here the ancient vibration came to carry us, and while we rode upon it, we entered into a journey through infinite consciousness. You are here with me. We are the awareness. Arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached. Arise, over and over, the mind began to conjure the mantra into existence.
In order to find the Nagas, we are going deep,
said Shruti. Arise, awake, stop not until the goal is reached.